We're going into picks and bans at last. So
It's been time.
everyone that's been on the YouTube channel has probably already clicked the button and skipped to it, but you guys that are watching live on stream, and there is a lot of you, thank you very much for tuning in. Instant ban, Fizz. No, sorry, Tabs, not going to get it in this tournament.
Yeah, that's too bad for him. I'm actually wondering, he's played 3 games already. He's picked Diana, Nidalee, and Cho'Gath. The Diana and Nidalee were victorious games for him, so yeah, definitely no Fizz coming up for him in any of these matches. A ban for Sona, which is good. You saw that Gosu Pepper had went back to the... No, he actually picked Janna. He's only played Sona in the very first game of the tournament, but he's diversifying himself. So Sona ban, Maokai ban. Not surprising after what we saw happen to Moscow 5 from I Want Cookies. They do not play well against Maokai, and even Alex has stated in, I think it was an AMA he did, that his least favorite thing in the game to play against wasn't another mid laner, it was actually Maokai. So
Sona banned out and Maokai, yeah, and I think someone said, I didn't see where it was, that that's why they banned Maokai, Moscow 5. They lose all their games against Maokais. And now I think back, yeah, probably the ones with CLG, etc. They do tend to ban Maokai all the time. They don't let Snoopy on it.
I mean, that's for other reasons maybe, but it could just be Maokai. Other teams ban Maokai against Snoopy fairly frequently. Just an extra emphasis for Moscow 5, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Zilean being banned out, I'm not sure. I don't think it's worthy of being banned. I've got to be honest. It's annoying. Don't get me wrong, the ulti is really annoying. I guess it's something Alex has been playing pretty heavily, so that's why they've done it. I get all these guys would have played against him in solo queue, so they probably all come against Alex's Zilean, so they probably just thought, okay, get rid. Cho'Gath banned out is definitely an interesting one. I'm not so sure about that one. We did see it in the last game for Eclypsia, but Eclypsia were just stomped on by Meteor Makers. Katarina being banned out, that one I would agree with 100%, but there is the Lee Sin for Diamond Prox.
And that's classic Moscow 5 almost, a bit of a throwback. There's still an Orianna on the table, there's still Jace on the table. There's still a lot of power picks for these guys, and if Alex was comfortable playing Orianna in the last game, they clearly don't super heavily value it, or they just don't fear Tabs' ability to play Orianna whatsoever, so they can pick it probably whenever they want.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see whether Heidel's going to get... Sorry, I was doing some moderating, and I looked across, and somebody did it for me, so it's all good. Put the ban hammer down in the channel, that's what I like to do.
Oh yeah.
Now and again, just people that keep posting those poxy links. Go in there. I'm sure they can be disabled. Yeah, I'm sure they can. But anyway, nevertheless, Rengar may be being picked up, and obviously going back to the last match was used. Eclypsia didn't have a successful, despite the fact it was the picks you liked. They kind of got destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, just because I like something doesn't mean it's good. Oh wow! But the Rengar coming back, really, we've seen him now in 2 games, and he hasn't done well in either one of them, so we're about to see the Galio, but they're just flipping around the picks a lot. Because Diamond Prox is the Lee Sin. Actually, no. Diamond Prox or Darien have played Lee Sin in either one of their games. Not Lee Sin. Xin Zhao. So that wouldn't be that big a surprise, but they're just hopping around. They're trolling us a little bit, not letting us lock down on what we actually want to see, but
yeah, it's always the problem. You never know.
I always want to start discussing it as soon as I see the picture, and then you'll make a fool of yourself.
I mean, Galio would have certainly been a viable pick. It's something we've seen Alex using before. So Orianna is who he played in the last game. He has played Kennen before. So these are all champions that Alex has definitely played in. It's looking like it's going to get locked in that way. So this is actually, they played Corki and Orianna in the last match. Corki went 0-2-5. Orianna, I think, was about 2-3-5, so not that successful of picks, but I guess when your jungler's 9-0-6, you don't get a look in.
I can imagine a lot of that was set up by Orianna, though, and
yeah.
Xin Zhao was pretty much a tank, as far as I could tell. His only damage item was a Wriggles Lantern, so I'm pretty sure Orianna was helping him out with that. I don't think there's any way that Vigar gets picked. We see him so frequently, especially from Nijaki from Curse US. He'll always be like, and everyone will think he does it because he plays a bunch of it in solo queue, and he got to number like 3 on the ladder with it, and then he just never wanted to pull it out in tournaments, and it made everyone at the venues very sad. But if they go for that mid-Italy, that would be pretty mean.
Yeah, we have them there. It is locked in straight away. Could well be solo mid-Italy versus Oriana. It's what we saw yesterday, wasn't it?
No, did we? We might have, but what this is signaling to me right here, actually, is just a full-on poke comp right here, because they have Jace and Italy, two super long-range skill shots, and even Rengar, who would be able to initiate. So what Moscow 5 has to do here, I don't think we've seen the Oriana versus Italy yesterday. I think it was Oriana versus Ari over and over. They need to find ways of initiating and ways of starting fights right away, so they have to get some hard initiation in with these last few picks. As you see, they're sitting on Blitzcrank. They could definitely go for that because they have to find a way to break turtles.
There is Sion, and wow, Blitzcrank getting locked in. Obviously, we've seen Elements using it a lot of it. We saw Blitzcrank banned quite heavily, actually, in Season 2. Had a number of bans against him. I think it was it Kane and Prey, the combo down the bottom line for Najin's sword, that used it a few times, that got banned against them. I'm trying to think who else. There's Jack looking like he's going to get locked in. Mad Life, of course, yes it was. And yeah, we saw Blitzcrank banned out a few times. They switched it last minute.
Sion? Really? Really? That would be a top lane Sion.
Against the poke comp Jace.
Yeah, but in lane, I wonder how good that is, because AP Sion, Trieskimo used to always tell me how good AP Sion was top and how he couldn't believe that nobody played it. And there's the dodge. Maybe they're doing runes or something, but Sion is Sion.
No, that's Heidel saying that.
Maybe they didn't mean to pick Sion.
No.
Sion is not Aurelia. I wonder if they didn't mean to pick Sion. Something's going on. I don't know how they're communicating with each other, because it's not through chat. Maybe they're PMing. We'll have to find out when they fly through these picks and bans real quick.
Well, we say fly through, but...
What are they waiting on, man?
They're like, what were the bans?
Yeah, they don't need to redo the bans. Of course they ban out.
But the final pick wasn't made, so they kind of got to do the same bans.
Yeah, they would actually. Otherwise, they'd forget. Alex, what have you done? Now this tournament was going so smooth. We keep going back to this 3 hours ago.
We were on time, you know, and now it's nearly 11 o'clock. And now, it's going to be like midnight again for me. It's going so well. Well, I guess Kuja wasn't going to pick up Brand. We already know it was Nidley. What was the final pick to come through? Was it the support or was it the AD?
So, I'm trying to think through their composition. Jace, they had Jace, Janna, Rengar, and Nidalee. So they needed an AD carry.
They needed carry.
Unless Jace is the AD carry, which we haven't really seen any else to do. I guess that's off the table.
Did they spell anything? No, they didn't.
They could have also messaged each other their final picks.
Yeah.
Because Ezreal just got locked in right away, which makes me think that Ezreal was their last pick.
Yeah,
so?
Yeah, they've just messaged each other because the bans were delayed for a little bit and then they've just sorted it out between themselves.
And that wasn't Aurelia, not a Sion. Damn! I wanted to see Sion versus Jace, but it makes a lot more sense to have Aurelia.
But he did let us in on a sneaky bit that Trieskimo thinks it's OP.
Yeah. He loved it. He actually played it a whole bunch against... I mean, back when he was on V8, he played it in tournaments, so it's pretty effective for them.
So the final pick was Ezreal. So it's going to be an Ezreal Janna lane, something we've seen a lot of before. It's going to be versus a Corki Blitzcrank, which, tell you what, Blitzcrank, if Ghosty Pepper lands some of those hooks, not so much on Ezreal. This is obviously why they've picked Ezreal. The Arcane Shift can get out of those hooks. It's going to be more Janna they're probably targeting.
They'll have to be going for Janna, but even if the hooks, even if they're not picking Ezreal to counter Blitzcrank, Ezreal is still the best poke comp AD carry for what they're doing. So it served two purposes really. Even though Blitzcrank is the hard initiation kind of counter, it would just naturally float into Ezreal. If anything, if Moscow 5 would have realized sooner that they were going for the poke comp, because I know they picked Corki very early on in the process, then they would have been smart to take Ezreal away from them just to deal better with poke and make Blitz more effective. But aside from that, this is going to be very much about Moscow 5 trying to out-pressure, out-farm, because the poke is going to come in real heavy.
Okay, so we're going to get a 3-minute gap. Let's have a look down. How do you rate these teams? I mean, Moscow 5's pretty much, I guess once they get in there, if they get hold of you with the shockwave, they're pretty much going to destroy you. Active game not found, apparently. But yeah, we've talked about it already. It's a big poke comp. I mean, Jace, Ezreal, and Nidalee. Wow. And of course the Howling Gales, I guess. It's like your Aram dream team right there.
Yeah, it's more poke than we've seen in the past, and even in this small sample size of the tournaments, all the AP Nidalees that have been going mid have been really successful. So they're just taking it even farther here and going full-on poke, which could end up being a mistake since the other AP mid Nidalee teams were still really good once they got engaged on and they could still fight really well. I think this team will be pretty good with it since Jace is actually pretty good up close. Ezreal's still a real AD carry. Rengar does have a lot of sustained damage. Should be very interesting to see how they deal with the poke and the engagements.
So let's have a quick look through some of the rune pages as well.
Yeah.
We are actually seeing exhaust on tabs. Let's have a look at tabs. Nidalee.
All right.
We saw obviously Ocelot's Nidalee yesterday. We saw a Nidalee earlier on today, I believe,
Runes.
didn't we?
Yeah, runes is we've seen once today. Runes are full ability power quints,
Runes are blank.
ability power per level yellows and blues, and
there we
magic
go.
pen reds for tabs runes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
so
standard.
Yeah, magic pen. That's pretty standard. Masteries 2109. That's standard as well. You know what? Last game of the day, like we did last time, I'm going to try to rush through everyone's runes and masteries. Let's try to set a record. Haydal on the right side as well. Runes, he's got 16 physical damage. Another guy with that blue AD quint, or blue that we saw yesterday, doesn't really work. Masteries 1911, so he's getting the Indomitable reduced damage mastery for trading in lane. So look at Rengar. His runes are 15 attack damage, 13 armor, and then he has attack speed blues instead of magic resist, so he's going for early jungle speed as opposed to magic resist when ganking. Masteries are 921, very standard, getting the bladed armor on that. Let's look at Jace. His runes are 15 physical damage, then armor and magic resist, very standard Jace runes just like that. Masteries are actually the exact same as the Ezreal on his team, except he has magic penetration instead of the crit mastery because no one wants to build crit on Jace. 1911. You really need that 11 defense in top lane so the creeps don't destroy you when you go to trade. We look at Kuja Smurf, the Janna player. Of course, all he plays pretty much ever is Janna. He actually has 21 armor on his rune page and 78 health from his quints. Extremely defensive. That's a tank Janna page. 12 magic resist blues. Also, 115-14 on the mastery side. So he is very much about trading and being hard to kill on Janna. That's going to be interesting to see if they engage on him. Let's go over to Moscow 5. Alex each on Orianna. Runes looking pretty standard caster page for him. He's got ability power quints, magic penetration reds, mana regen yellows, and flat magic resist blues. Masteries are 2109, so standard caster masteries there. Let's look at Diamond Procs on Lee Sin. Let's see if he's done anything creative. He's got 15 AD, 13 armor from his yellows. Then his blues are a split of MR and MR per level. Masteries, of course, 921, so slightly more defensive. He actually spec the health regen over any kind of late game cooldown reduction. Slight variance there. We look at Darien. His runes are 15% attack speed from his reds, 6.8 AD physical damage from his quintessences, armor, and MR per level, so those are very standard across the board. 921 as well for him, so he's up against a Jace that is slightly more offensive than him, so he should stall that out a bit. Let's look at Genja, see if anything's big there. Nope, 15 AD, 12 magic resist, 13 armor. Masteries are 21-9, so Genja always being talked as being the AD carry who doesn't like to play aggressive. It makes sense. If he's not drawing creep aggro, he doesn't need the Indomitable mastery. Let's look at Gosu Pepper. His Blitzcrank has move speed quints so he can run up and get the Power Fist more often. Attack speed reds, armor and magic resist. That's a little strange, Blitzcrank. Wanting to get more attacks and doesn't make the most sense, but what else would you bring? Also, offense 1, 15, 14 for his masteries. The actually same masteries that Kuja had on the other side. Tanky Blitz who can tank creeps. I made it. Did them all.
Bam, through them, no probs, whizzing through. So I even kept up as well this time.
Awesome.
So this is Tails of the Lane. It is Group B. It is the final match of the group, and the groups are very much wide open. And holy cow, it has worked. Last game of the night.
The last game of the day. Everything's perfect. Nothing else could possibly go wrong now. We're done. We're out of the woods.
In the game.
Everything's
the
perfect.
servers could crash, possibly.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, and he's got Piltover Custom, Gosu Pepper as well. Wow, he's pulled out the awesome skin. And Genja, of course, never buys skins. Never, ever, ever, ever buys anything. Scumbag Genja.
Gets a bunch of... I think you get, like, RP rewards for tournaments, too, and he just probably just doesn't spend them? I don't know.
Buys the champions instead.
Yep. All right.
But you know, it's all right because I don't even have Season 2 champion Riven.
I don't either.
I don't have a ticket to prove I was there, I guess. You know, I could contact player support. It's like, were you there? It's like, well, you can kind of see the video and see me. I don't. Honestly, it could well be a big deciding game. Gosu Pepper may well be able to go straight. And if he'd have gone to the left-hand side, he'd been able to hook himself a big cuddly the Predator, I guess.
Lion.
Technically,
it's a lion.
Yeah, it's a lion thing.
Lion man.
Not quite sure what it's classed as, but yeah, if you just joined us, you can see it's Eclypsia in the formed lineup, and yeah, they've certainly started to do some pretty good things. They beat Curse, allegedly down to Angus's DDoS. I'm not too sure.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were told, so you know.
Okay.
We can only go by what we're told. And they are 2-0-1.
Right, they're 2-0-1. So is Moscow 5. Winner this game, guaranteed guaranteed first seed, which would mean free spot to Paris, pretty much, to make it into that. And the loser could actually not even make it into the quarterfinals. So super close group. And Darian, you know, he's got vision on people, didn't steal anything, but he knows exactly where two members are.
He's keeping full vision of them. Not even run into his lane, not even worried. He knows the timing. Just causing himself a problem and giving them something to think about. And that's quite clever because he skipped past the red there. It's given him something to think about. Actually, of course he skipped past the red. What am I on about? He's the bloody top laner.
Yeah, that's something. No, that's something a lot of mid lane top lanes have started doing is they'll take a few creeps from the jungle. Since getting level 2 in your lane is so important that if they get that small amount of XP from the jungle, it gives them that edge. Darian, of course, being real aggressive onto him right now, not going to let him get level 2 first because he does not want to get bullied back in that lane.
Yeah, and he's just going to try and force him back a little bit. And how do you actually judge this one? I mean, we've seen a few Jaces. I don't think we've probably seen a few versus Aurelia. Aurelia seems to be the matchup that works against him. Shen doesn't seem to work too well against the Jace. But he's a very versatile champion.
Yeah, that's what everyone said. Oh, as we get some aggression going down bottom lane, Ignite's getting put out. But they're just going to disengage each other. Rengar also going to run into Diamond Procs up here.
Yeah, I'm just keeping my... Did he know? Did his senses just tell him? Aurelia actually made that movement towards him, and did he just judge it straight off that? He must have.
I think so. I think he had to. He realized Darian was falling back towards him, and he's just sensed a lot of danger. One of the worst things you can do is give up double buffs early on in the top lane, so he was very cautious not to make that mistake.
And he was very wise to as well, because he knew it was there, and immediately backed away. So I'm just going to keep my eye on this one, because we can see Rengar now creeping back in towards that top bush. Diamond Prox, of course, has gone away on Lee Sin, but is heading back. You can see him making his way back up here. Darian knew something was up. Manages to get the stun on towards him, and that's going to be Rengar diving in. Has he done too much damage? Now we see Lee Sin come around. Is it just going to be defensive stuff? Will he get enough damage done? No, he won't, and they do both back away. Darian is going to chug through his pots and try and save himself here, but honestly I don't think there's much else they could have done with that one.
No, they were a little too slow on the get up. The thing though is the Rengar gank, if he would have hugged the brush a little sooner, I think he could have leaped to Darian, but even then Darian didn't even burn his flash when escaping that gank, so no matter what happened, I think the gank would have gotten Darian a little bit low and then resulted in nothing much.
So let's get back towards this middle lane. Tabs versus Alex Ich. Broomstick nearly, which seems to be the favourite. That's what Ocelot was running as well. Versus Alex Ich. Is that Broomstick one the new one? Is that one of the Halloween skins? It must be.
I wish I knew. I think it is. But it looks pretty nice, so it's pretty high detail. Yeah, it's not my department. I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is indeed as well. And Alex Ich in there as well. So how do you state these ones? I mean, is this the new the balance against Orianna, the balance of power that we've seen Orianna sort of shifting?
Alex has got to watch out for a Rengar gank here.
He has, but he just pops himself up. Oh, he tried to actually turn around and get aggressive, but Ives and Fresh didn't back out of it. Did he eat a spear? I didn't see whether he did. What chunked that health down? Was it just Rengar? Oh, look at that. Yuki. Blitzcrank pull and the top
we're going to have to rewind a couple
that one.
times.
I'm rewinding that one. Let's have a look down the bottom. Genji's going to get caught out, taken very low, and then Heidel goes too aggressive, gets a brilliant hook on him into the turret, and now let's look straight towards the top. That was a good kill. Oh, Darian with the accelerator case. Wow, enemies poking him from a long way off. I missed a lot of the build-up to that one, but great bit of poke, and that's why Jace is so good.
Yeah, and it's strange because in the World Finals, I jumped back to live as well. In the World Finals, Irelia was seen as the counter to Jace, but Darian getting caught a bit early there, traded a bit too much damage. The thing was, the gank from Rengar put him so low that he probably ran himself through health potions. Knew he was stronger than Jace, but then just got barely hit by it. Looked like close to a max range shock blast at the end. In the bottom lane, it was really just a classic case of getting over-aggressive and trying to trade a little too much. 2 tower shots contributed to the death of Heidel on Ezreal, and that could be pretty disastrous for them. You can see something Moscow 5 does a fair bit, and even Eclypsia is doing as well, is they're giving a fair bit of minion kills to their support. You can see he already has a Philosopher's Stone on Blitzcrank because he's killed 10 minions. There's also 8 kills for Kuja as well. It's actually worth it to give the support gold enough to get his first GP10 just because it snowballs so well.
Genji's getting a good burst on him there in the bottom lane, stripped off half his health by Heidel. Doing a good job of trying to keep control of it, especially when Ghostly Pepper had left the lane. He knew damn well he'd gone. Ghostly Pepper used that CV. Where did he just use it? Didn't see where that Clairvoyance went down. Oh, he was checking the dragon. That's where he used it, so he could go and put that ward down. He's just going to return back. They know he's there because he's just drove straight past that ward. Diamond Prox in the top lane. He's still on top of ward as well, so not giving anything away there. And Alexic back in his mid lane. I'm going to have to shuffle these around just to get the farm in position, but it is very even across the board at the moment.
Yeah, and these teams are pretty cautious. The last 2 games we saw from both Eclypsia and Moscow 5, they got kind of destroyed despite being the teams fighting for the top spot in the group. Had so much back and forth, but they kind of maybe both came out a little bit conservative in this game, knowing that victor, free spot, loser might not even make it in a group stage, and no real risks have been taken thus far. Bit of trading down bottom. I say no real risk have been taken, yet they took 2 tower shots bottom. I'm just saying words at this point. But Darian, you look top, he's bullying back onto Jace. He's only 5 minion kills ahead, but you can see, even with the death, the pressure advantage is on him right now. Ninja Tabi and a red elixir. So, trying to get some supremacy up there.
Yeah, Darian going straight back as well. I don't think anybody's going to let him. Oh, he missed it. Missed the shot. I bet he was wishing he did that a minute ago. He managed to survive it. Here we go. Tabs coming back in towards the middle. Trying to clear out the waves of farm, but Alexic not falling for it. Now he's going to go pick up the blue buff. So let's have a look back down the bottom lane. 53 to 47. Remote is the advantage to Heidel, but of course that kill difference means the gold advantage. Oh, yes, it is. It is still slightly with Genji because he got that assist. Ghostly Pepper, of course, was the scumbag that picked up the kill, as he always does. So,
well, to be fair, if you hook someone into the tower while your AD carry has about 50 health, I think you deserve to
you're
take
allowed.
the kill.
You're allowed. But he's not ashamed to maybe get the odd steal now and again. I don't think. Kills a kill, kills secured. I guess is the sound way of making it. It's just having a look around that mid lane. Diamond Prox, everybody avoiding the damage. Rengar and Diamond Prox both having a poke down. I'm so fresh.
Rengar actually had to use his ultimate there, so it's now on a 140-second cooldown. That was, he might have been trying to sneak in, but he just got caught at exactly the wrong moment. Nothing being done there. That's pretty unfortunate for Eclypsia because Rengar's bottom lane gank at level 6 is crazy, crazy strong, and now they can no longer pull off that maneuver. Diamond Prox runs through a ward once again, and he's just forcing enemies back, allowing Darian to free farm a little bit, but not really getting that much done himself.
Well, he's going to go in towards it. I'm seeing Rengar. Seeing whether he's going to go for anything there. He's going for Wraith. So they know the position. It's great to see the work between the junglers. You know, they know each other's positions so much. The fact that there's all these things. So he went for Wraiths. He immediately went for Golems. You know, just countering each other. Know exactly where everyone was. Alex is fully aware that they've just gone for that and taken the Wraiths away. And there's the Clairvoyance used as well. Yeah. Just checking out.
And then because of that, Diamond Prox took Eclypsia's race. So
yeah, and the hook comes in. Arcane Shift got out of the way of that one. But yeah, Ghostly Pepper just checked the tri-bush actually. for Rengar. Sorry, Clairvoyance the Tribush. Knew he was around that area, making sure he didn't come around the bush. And completely had vision of him. I'm pretty sure they realise he is in that bush right now. We'll soon see. He does come across. He's going to be able to get a pounce. Not use anything. Actually tries to snare down Gosu Pepper. Genja does not react to it. Reacts a little bit late there and manages to avoid the damage though. And the hook on towards Kuja in towards the turret wasn't enough. Nobody's coming to save them though. No help coming. Lee Sin is just off to the top left. And Diamond Prox on towards those. There's a 3-man push coming in here. I'm not sure Diamond Prox wants to take this one. Are they going to push the turret? No, they're not. They're going to allow Diamond Prox to farm it.
They might go to Dragon, though.
I think they might.
No, they're just getting vision / trying to invade and get Alex. I have to say, the lane for Moscow 5 is actually winning, considering that they brought a Clairvoyance and are still not getting punished for it. So when the late game poke Baron, poke fest goes around, they will have that CV in their back pocket. And they're exhausting Alex. Might be going in for something.
They're diving in for him and he just backs away. Does he pull the shockwave? Yes, he does. Pulls him in. Gets another tower hit down on towards Tabs, though, unfortunately. He didn't go on towards I'm So Fresh, which is the one he ignited. That's who he wanted the second one. Oh, and it's a spear to the face and has to back away. Those spears can be deadly. Not quite so up close range, though. Meanwhile, I am seeing top lane having a little bit of a poke back and forwards. Darien was forced back on the turret. And Enemies is just going to go back. But yeah, Diamond Prox now is going to take the Dragon, but he's not going to be allowed to take it for free because Heidel is there. He's going to need Genja to come up. There's the power pist on towards Heidel. Here comes Genja with a big bomb opening up. They do manage to hook it towards Kuja, and Alexic gets a shield on towards Gosu Pepper. They should clear things out. Heidel will back away. They're trying to get their max range spears. And Moscow 5 are forced to back away from Dragon.
That was a little unfortunate. I think they were trying to sneak it since they knew that 2 members, both Rengar and Tabs, were going to be back to base after the failed Orianna gank mid. But Jan and Ezreal kind of knew what was up. There's no way you can take down a Dragon if Tabs gets back and starts lobbing Nidalee spears at you. Gotta say, though, I'm So Fresh Rengar's ganks have been a little underwhelming. He's tried 2 towards the mid lane, and neither of them have really had much effect. I'd expect the next gank to actually be bot lane onto Gosu Pepper and Genja just because of how aggressive they've been in that lane, how they don't really have that many combat summoners since they did bring the Clairvoyance, and how that gank would most likely be successful. That's probably where we're going to see the next set of action for Eclypsia.
Sorry, I'm mesmerized by Corky's moustache. I'm just actually thinking, and it's mainly for the fact that Twisted Fate's come out lately. I'm just thinking of the dimensions of his moustache. That moustache must be almost the full length of Ezreal, I think. I was just completely mesmerized. They are going to sneak the Dragon though. Diamond Prox came, snuck around the backside, and just needed that shortest of little help there. And they're going to keep Heidel away. He has teleported away already. No, he didn't. But instead he just uses a safeguard across towards Gosu Pepper. And it was a clever little sneak, so that 2k gold advantage for Moscow 5 now starting to stretch, and it's the lanes advantage. So let's have a look, quick sweep down the lanes. You can see at the top 10 CS difference, in the jungle 10 CS difference for Moscow 5, in the middle a 10 CS difference, even the support's got a 5 CS difference, and the AD carries has only got a 5 CS difference. Very close between the top 2 though. Darien very low, as well as Jace, and now he's going to go for it, uses the ignite down, and he gets the quick burst down, the ultimate coming across, uses the advantage game, and then immediately, that's going to be Rengar leaping in, doesn't pop his ultimate, doesn't go for it though, but Jace was saved there, and Enemies was in desperate trouble. Oh, he might try and get a spear. Darien's in trouble now, he's going to turn this one around. Here comes Tabs, but Alex Inch is coming up behind them as well. They're going to dive on towards Darien. Good use, very nice there, very well played, manages to dash across as Tabs, and Alex Itch coming in just at the right time, puts that defensive ball down and clears out everything. Tried to get the shockwave on Tabs though, and just clears out the minion wave instead. And good.
That was brilliant timing by Darien up top. He did that twice. The first time when Rengar ulted in and was going to leap on him, he blade surged towards him as the leap happened, which got him out of Rengar's harm's way. Then he did the exact same thing to Tabs when he hopped in again. Perfect timing and execution. That was, if he didn't do both of those, he probably would have ended up diving, but because he pulled off both, he managed to repel that gank and keep them ahead in this game.
Spears going in on towards Diamond Prox. Alex returns and continues farming the merry way. Whoa, we have a pause.
Yep.
Didn't see anyone drop. And it was while I was scrolling, so I can't do anything with the mouse. But let's have a look down the lanes, Jat. Let's take us through how it is actually turning out. I mean, Moscow 5 appearing to have the slightest advantages,
Yep.
farm exactly even in the mid lane.
You pointed out really early that every lane is actually super close, but it's super close in a way that barely favors Moscow 5. So overall, they are slowly pulling ahead, which is completely fine for them. The quality that Moscow 5 team fights at, if they can take lanes like this and have those small advantages, they're usually pretty happy about it, especially when you consider Orianna against Nidalee. Nidalee hasn't been able to roam around and create anything. Darian still being able to bully despite getting that first blood onto him. Rengar's actually coming in the top lane again, and he's getting repelled back by that ward. This is just pretty good game plan by Moscow 5. I'd say they're winning the lanes just by the fact that they have really small advantages.
We are seeing Diamond Proc's going to head up towards this north end, realise that Rengar's here. They're going to try and turn this in their favour. Is he going to be able to sneak into that bush? I'm not too sure. He's at the tower right now, so maybe a little bit of bait coming out here. Rengar's possibly sensing it. Is he going to back off? Is he going to stick around? No, it looks like he's going to fully back, which does actually expose enemies. And now that, look, they saw it as soon as he went back. They knew he was there, and there's Diamond Prox to say, yep, we saw you and we know you went. Enemies not letting him go either. Shock blast to the face of Diamond Prox, not letting him get out of that bush. But things are continuing on, and this is actually a pretty slow-paced game. And you know, we talked about what is at risk here. They realize that this is a direct qualifier for the finals in Paris.
Yeah, it's really looking like it might be the game plan for both of these guys, just to play it slow. You know, Eclypsia wants to get the siege going once Tabs gets his magic pen going and maybe even a death cap, whereas Moscow 5 wants to wait until they have good Orianna skills so they can just create team fights. And they really need Darian to be fairly tanky, because he's going to be the one who has to dive in for their team and combo with the balls. So it's just on both teams to kind of stall here. It seems like Eclypsia are the ones pushing a lot harder than Moscow 5, but Moscow 5 is doing a really good job repelling it.
Just keeping my eye on where Rengar, I'm So Fresh and Tabs making their way up towards Alex each. Are they going to be able to get on him? No, Alex is very much aware of the situation and steps behind his turret and says, come at me, bro. And backs away to the base. So
Diamond might trying to brute force something here, but can't do that to a Chana. She tornadoes.
Yeah, Pepper trying to overdrive in there, not going to be able to hook. He would have hooked onto Ezreal, but of course he would have just arcane shifted, and that does get you away. Darian again has had another go at enemies in this top lane, and he's forced him back to base, and Darian is going to stick around, and he's just going to clear out the wave. Meanwhile, this mid lane tower is getting pushed pretty heavily here. Good burst of damage. They do manage to get a tower hit, and that's taking it down to 826 health. And now we're seeing a little bit of a poke. Tried to go for the hook at the bottom there. That's the Monsoon used actually by Kuja to force them away.
Yeah, he actually canceled Diamond Prox's resonating strike after he was traveling towards him. He just blew him right back. We've seen a couple really epic timings from the Janna ult, at least yesterday, with the Amumu. One knocking him out, one actually ended up pulling him back in. But the proper use of the Janna ult there by Kuja, making sure Lee Sin couldn't get on top of him.
So just wait and see whether Ghosty Pepper's going to go for another hook. That Monsoon, of course, not available now. Nothing's going to save them. So if they can get a bit of burst down, there's no sustain really other than the shield to prevent the damage going towards Heidel, but you can see the difference. This is what they've discussed in interviews before. Genja is sort of sat there. Ghosty Pepper's like, I want to go for him, I want to go for him. And Genja's
mid
just
lane.
Like, farming. Oh, go mid lane. Let's have a look towards mid lane. Alex is actually exhausted up there. Does manage to get the damage down towards Tabs, sorry. And Diamond Prox comes in just at the right time, safeguards him up, and backs away from the damage. Wow, still 1-1, Jan.
Yeah, that was another gank. Rengar through middle, and the instant he jumped on Alex, Alex actually shockwaved him into the turret. Just the ball right on top of him. They tried to jump in on him afterwards, but they just are not able to get enough damage onto Alex. He's got already level 14, so much farming really. Level 14 hasn't left his lane. And now we see Diamond Prox trying to soul the dragon again, but everyone on EC is there. Diamond Prox in a lot of trouble.
Diamond Prox is in a lot of trouble. Eats a spear to the face. Meanwhile, he gets away with it, dodges out, hits the True Shot Barrage, hits him, which means he's going to have to back away because the whole of Eclypsia are here now, and Alex Hitch is coming back around. He has got the bull still out there, hasn't used the Shockwave just yet to pull anyone in. Darian's taking a hell of a lot of damage as well. Does come around, and still actually got Shockwave on that cooldown from the mid-ganker earlier on, which is why he hasn't used it. Puts a good dissonance down towards Heidel though. Heidel forced away. Enemies is backing away. Use the accelerator's gate to back off, and a whole of Eclypsia forced away from that fight. And Moscow 5, honestly, considering how splintered they were in that fight, actually managed to come out quite well.
Alex, once again, just kind of shielding the right members. We've seen so much of this, just, you know, ball control over and over. Diamondprox going straight back in for the Dragon again. I think you might actually be a few seconds behind me on your recording. But aside from that, they seem to just have all 5 members grouped up. And Eclypsia wasn't there to poke except the spear, which takes, you know, just half of Ghostly Pepper's health. They do come away with the Dragon, however.
They do pick up the Dragon, so it's all squares still. Gold is a big difference, though. 4K, considering it's still 1-1, shows that those lanes and those Dragons are definitely making the difference. Fiends and Holy Grail has been completed by Oriana, as is... I mean, just looking across, it's actually builds. I would slightly give it to Nidalee at the moment. That's mainly he's slightly ahead in the spears that lands on Alex Itch right on cue.
It only takes a couple spears and you have it. Really, Alex went for the blasting wand. Tabs waited longer to get his item. They're both going for pretty much exactly the same build. Source Shoes, Athene's Unholy Grail, and then Death Cap. It's just a matter of Alex will get there slightly sooner. Tabs just has a bit of lead in the actual items right now.
So Darian popping his ulti to clear out the wave there, and he was well aware of the fact that he was potentially going to dive for him. Maybe push for a blue buff here. Not sure if blue is available. Alex has it on him at the moment, so timing is well off between them. So they're backed off. They're not going to pick anything up. Down the bottom lane actually coming in. Good power fist, and that's going to be a hook on towards Kuja. And ultimate used by Ghostly Pepper there. But no real burst damage going down. And a big back and forth between Heidel and Genja there. The exchanges that are starting to happen, starting to get a bit more feisty. They've both got Sheen, they've both got identical builds, in fact, except Ninja Tabby on Genja, and looks like Mercury Tread's going to come out for Heidel. At the moment, he's just more worried about probably that hook if it was to come in, or maybe the shockwave of Oriana later on in the game. Genja just getting that poke, continuing on, trying to land those big bombs. He's probably out of them by now. He's used a hell of a lot of big bombs. Then he's still got 2 stored up there, so he's stored up the whole 7 of them. Trying his best to just blast it on towards Heidel, force him away. Now we can see Rengar.
Ooh, Rengar in Italy.
They're coming down the south. They're going to be able to hook. That's a hook on towards Heidel, and that may actually bait them into it. Oh, very good Monsoon there. Oh, just about missing on Ghostly Pepper there. Heidel using the ultimate, trying to catch him out with a true shot. Not enough though. And Genja doing a fantastic job at clearing the wave and keeping them at bay. Diamondprox shows his face and they try to bait him out there. It is still a very precarious position. Genja's got to back away from this one. He's in a 4-on-2. Diamondprox eats the spear that was heading towards Genja. Alexic picks up the turret. Meanwhile, in the middle, I'm keeping my eye on the top lane. There's the turret gone down. Now they have to run. They have to run. Tabs is trying to pounce on them. Good catch on towards Genja, and Genja just gets dropped at a flip of a coin.
So about to say, how is Eclypsia ever going to kill Moscow 5 and then pop, snap your finger and they're dead? But Alex, during all that 4-man push, even though they got a turret, pushed down the mid and is about to take half of the health from the center turret, the second tier turret as well. So he got a bit of an edge there when Nidalee spent so much time bottom. Alex farming up a storm 259 minion kills at only 23 minutes on Oriana. Not quite 300 as we've seen from some Karthus, but he seems to have gotten this without even trying. He's been ganked many times, and he's still keeping his farm up so high. Once they get to the teamfight phase, that's going to be so good for their initiation, just having that much power and kind of counter poke to deal with how good Eclypsia's poke is going to be.
Yeah, Darian's poke on enemies at the top there is definitely causing him issues. He just had a little bit of an engagement back and forth, and again, Darian seemingly came out on top. He's got that pot in his bag as well. Should he require it, gives him that quick 250 hit point burst heal, doesn't it, if he needs it, and obviously ups these hit points across the board. Enemies is rapid fire trying to clear out the wave. Darian is just watching, wondering if he's going to make a couple of steps too far with this next creep wave. Ghostly Pepper is actually heading up there at the moment. He's just warding out the Baron. And I'm wondering whether he's going to try and maybe force something on enemies here, because Darian is sticking around. There he goes, towards up the tri-bush, so they're definitely thinking of trying something out here. and they've immediately pinged it. They knew he was around there, and they do back off. Rengar sat ready and waited, maybe thinking he can jump on towards Darien here. There goes the ultimate, he's going to go for it. Darien gets knocked back, but he manages to quickly switch the position around. Here comes Ghostly Pepper. Is it going to be enough? He will land the hook, manages to catch on towards Rengar. Rengar going to get taken down low enough, but is it enough? Has Darien got enough? Can he tower dive? No, I'm so fresh with the health pot running, will about to avoid it. And now the ping's going down. They realize that Alex was heading north, and they both all back away from the turret. And Diamond Prox comes around. They should be able to chunk the turret down off the back.
Yeah, but with that, Tabs just landed a good spear on Alex, and they're trying to take the mid-turret pressure off. They did get the one turret, and they're actually collapsing down behind Eclypsia. Eclypsia might get caught a bit here. All the pressure Moscow 5 is applying around the map might come to fruition fairly shortly.
Here's Diamond Prox, he's gone in, he goes for Kuja. Kuja's going to get dropped, has to use the Monsoon, but Alex should be able to have enough damage onto him. Kenja actually with the basic attack. Now they turn into Heidel. Heidel went back in after being caught out there. Don't understand why he did that, but you know what, I'm not to argue with these pro players, but definitely caught out, and that's given them a bit of an advantage now. Are they going to turn it into anything? That's the question. Dragon is not up. Be crazy to go for Baron right now. They're just going to continue farming.
It's growing and growing though. That's 2 turrets as well as the 2 dragons that Moscow 5 has picked up, and the 1 kill every lane, winning by just a little bit. You can see Darien 20 ahead of enemies. You can see Alex 30 ahead. Diamond Prox 15 ahead of Rengar. Even the support 9, 80 carry. Genja sitting, you know, 30, or is that, no, almost 40 ahead. So just across the board, medium to small advantages, but everything adding up to be a very big lead. So when they clash in these team fights, you actually see the overall advantage they've accrued. And here's the 3rd dragon coming up. If they want to fight this, they're going to have to deal with 5v5 as long as Genji can actually get to that point.
Yeah, and Ghostly Pepper's just in that push, mauling down.
They're a little low if they're coming out.
Alexich actually been pounced on here. Oh, the spear came through. Alexich had to flash out of it, uses the shockwave, tries to delay. They hook in towards I'm So Fresh. Sorry, it was Genji that got dropped. They do manage to take down I'm So Fresh in the Baron Dragon Pit. They do pick up the Dragon as well. Now Darien's going to continue on this one. They've actually split them off here. Darien and Diamond Prox could do a lot of damage here, but the rest of the main damage dealers, the fact that Genji went down, the fact that Alex was forced away from the fight, has caused them to back away, and they're going to pick up the turret. And that is a good turnaround by Eclypsia.
And they ended up kind of trading the Dragon for the mid-turret because they committed to getting that Dragon despite being disadvantaged. They had to run away afterwards. They knew there was no way they could win that fight, so they ended up getting poked down a lot. And when they disengaged, it left the mid-turret vulnerable, which of course Eclypsia stomped on. And it's still 6,000 gold though. That trade didn't really give Eclypsia anything outside of a bit of map control. Still like Moscow 5 in here. They will have to start forcing teamfights at some point, and we'll really see how this game's going to play out when the first siege goes in, when Tabs actually starts throwing a huge amount of those spears out, because in all the Nidalee games we've seen thus far, doesn't really look like they're doing much, and then the spears start coming out and they just seem to win. Let's see if it happens again.
When the power burst comes through, especially when they land. Darien takes out that turret, so it's 3 towing turrets, all outer turrets now down, and Moscow 5 giving that slightest of advantages. And while the gold, you can see, is a big advantage. 7,000 gold currently, but people starting to complete those items and spikes between them. Chat, how would you rate it at the moment as the items obviously starting to complete? They've got 2 major items on the AP carriers. There's a couple of people with major items. The spikes were at what, level 18 on a couple, between 12 and 18, right, spread across the board. Who's got the biggest spike in power at the moment?
Well, not yet for Moscow 5, but soon. If you look at the top 3 members, you just saw Alex each complete his Guardian Angel. You can see Darien got his resist components. He's going back to base right now. He's going to complete his Guardian Angel. Now that they've just completed 2 GAs, that's a big spike in power. Those actives have a lot of oomph in them, and the first fight they pop, you get a big edge. They're going to look to take the game pretty much in this next fight, whether that's with a Baron fight or with a mid-tower fight. With this now power spike, winner could go to Paris, loser might actually not make anything.
Well, yeah, indeed, they could go. They certainly go through the quarterfinals, at least, I think, is how the standings could work. But yeah, that's still a big ask. Alternate in there in 3rd place. So they'll face the second from this group, and Darien wants to engage this one. They're going very aggressive. They're diving on towards Kuja. Kuja's going to have to use that Monsoon to try and force them away, but he's not going to get away, and immediately dived on. Eclypsia pops in there. I'm So Fresh trying to dive as well, trying to split them apart. True Shot Barrage not quite catching. The Shockwave does manage to catch them. It is going to be enemies going down. Enemies with the double kill for Eclypsia. Genja picks up the kill on towards I'm So Fresh, and now you can see the Heidel's having to back away. The spear's still trying to come through by Tabs. Tabs just pouncing through, but that was a good, clean encounter, and 3-0 for Moscow 5.
They didn't even burn their GAs. A lot of the trick with GAs, the number of resists it actually gives you, that the revive is just a bonus because you become so tanky the instant you get it. And that's just what Moscow 5 did. They just out-tanked. They bulldozed their way into their team and just ran over them. They could not kite well enough. The big thing is they got Kuja at the start of that fight, which made it so he couldn't disengage and kite himself since he was already dead. And they're just rolling right in for the inhibitor. Tabs trying from the back to get spears, but oh my god, that's the first one that landed.
Does manage to get one. He has to pounce away. They're trying to put some damage on towards Darien as he escapes, but Diamond Prox is in there. They could turn this one. The rest of the team have backed away. Immediately safeguards it, and Diamond Prox flashes out there. So they're going to try and continue chasing it. Diamond Prox might go down. Get the exhaust down on him. They try to turn it around. Heidel's doing his best to get him, but Heidel may pay for it. Here comes Eclypsia back around the side. Heidel may well go down. Clairvoyance used. Very nice grab there. Goes through Pepper, catches it on. Darien goes down. Enemy's going to turn it back on towards Darien. Darien has got that Guardian Angels, remember, both of these, as does Eclypsia. They just don't want the Guardian Angels to be burned. Shockwave back up. That guy's in time.
Ooh.
Guardian Angel used, but he's on top of a ward. The spear comes back in. Not quite enough. The Jace poke with the shock blast. Still not quite enough. And they just about avoid everything from them. But Eclypsia certainly tried there.
How do you kill Eclypsia at this point? They seem to land everything, and he was still barely able to escape.
Go Baron.
Moscow 5 definitely overstayed their welcome.
No.
And Eclypsia trying to make sure they don't do the same. No members of Moscow 5 died in that fallback, did they? They just lost the GA on Alex. That's incredible.
Yeah, they just lost the GA on Alex. Diamond Prox and Darien traded the damage between them like it was Baron hitting them or something. They were just, like they were tanking a turret. They quite happily just traded back and forth until Alex got involved. And Heidel, did Heidel go down? I'm not sure if Heidel did die. Wow, I'm really getting old. My memory is terrible.
But
yeah, he did. He got hooked by Ghostly Pepper, of course.
Yeah, they finished him off. But now everyone pretty much healed up. 1 GA down for Moscow 5, but there's still the team fight up and all of those turrets that they took recently. Alex, 12,000 gold, so he's actually 2,000 gold ahead of his lane mate Tabs. Pretty good matchup, really. No one on Moscow 5 is dying that much, and soon they will look to have maybe 4 Guardian Angels if Diamond Prox gets his done and Genja gets his in as well. They love massing those GAs. Really, not all the teams can pull it off. It's just because when everyone gets it, there's really no viable targets, and I think that's the big key for Moscow 5, is just presenting nothing that they want to hit.
So as it stands, that 11,000 gold, 11,500 gold difference. Pretty huge gap. It's got to be said. 8-3 up in kills. Look at that. Clairvoyance used to spot the dragon. They knew it was there. They can see it being picked up. And that's the first dragon for Eclypsia, actually, I think, this game.
Yep.
Try and close that gap, but honestly, it's still a pretty huge gap. 11k is the difference, and you can see really in the items between the teams, the carries, everyone that counts. Really, where is all that gold sat? Doesn't matter. Darien going engaging. They're going to try and dive in. Do manage to get the accelerator get to keep the team going away. They can kite quite well, Eclypsia. They still have got damage to poke out if they get the right targets. Darien, though, is really wanting to get aggressive here. You can see Diamond Prox sniffing around the back end as well as Jace. And Enemies was forced to back away. And this is really a fight for blue.
No. They wanted to deny the blue buff from Tabs, and just the pressure alone did so. Hadel ended up taking it, which is not a disaster, but the difference between a Mystic Shot and a Javelin Toss when you're trying to poke is immense, and Tabs will run out of mana if they try an Extended Siege, now that they accidentally gave the blue buff to Nadal.
Diamond Prox is looking to go around the back of them here. I think they want to go through Pepper, nearly landed on Enemies there. Full length poke. The accelerator gate being used to try and back off, and it's effectively using a free Shirelius at the moment to try and disengage, and this is what they're trying to do, trying to get the poke, and they do land it on Darien there. Max range spear, and Diamond Prox you can still see sniffing around. He's actually going to try and take away the wraiths from them, but yeah, realizing no, the rest of my team are gone, I best not get caught out here. And I think, you know, Eclypsia are kind of sniffing a little bit of a poke working for them here.
They're really avoiding a lot of initiations. I think Moscow 5 is waiting for their next big spike. They just got the Guardian Angel onto Lee Sin, and you can see Genja is violently farming, trying to get up to his as well. They're also waiting for Alex Ichis to come off a cooldown. They got another about a minute and a half on that. If they get the 4 GAs, they also just realized that Ezreal's ult was burned bottom, so it won't be there to cut across him in a team fight. If they get those 4 GAs, they would be able to force something, and this is the power play here. They haven't even gotten them, but they're just going to try to force down Baron. Let's see if they can not get poked out or if they can hard engage somewhere. Genji gets caught out of position.
Genji did get caught, but the shockwave caught 4 members of Eclypsia, and they dive straight on. Kuja gets dropped without being able to do a great deal, and I'm So Fresh has gone too deep, and he'll get dropped by Alex Inch as well. And then meanwhile, Darien causing all sorts of problems. They're using Accelerator Gate to try and escape, but Heidel's going to get caught out again there, and that is going to be a sacrificial lamb in enemies there, and the rest of Moscow 5 drive in. That shockwave was epic.
They just flew into the trap, it almost seems. Genja, he'd like to say he did that intentionally, but it worked out amazingly. Everyone went to chase, everyone went into the brush. The 4-man shockwave onto the slow, actually, after that. The dissonance really allowed everyone to catch up afterwards. They had enough initiation, enough chase, enough skill with their skill shots to stop the disengage from Eclypsia and really just forced on them whenever they wanted to this entire game.
And there we go, there's the 2 Nexus 2s going down. The spears keep coming through. They may even get Diamond. No, they won't, because he's going to safeguard. And Moscow 5 go 3-0-1 in the group, which means Eclypsia go through, but I'm not too sure in what position. I think it's